I'm Chuck Pacheca. I have a colleague in the front row, Doug Smith. We are with Mentor, and we're going to talk about the ISO 262 standard, compliance to it, some of the tools, flows, steps, tricks that at least we have uncovered and used in our consulting business, while Doug and I are with Mentor's consulting group. So we work with automotive customers on a regular basis. So a couple different topics that we're going to go through. We've broken up this presentation into 4 sections. The first section, I'm going to go a little bit over the standard at a high level, basically create a level set for everyone in the room in case some people may not be as knowledgeable about the standard as other people, so I apologize in advance if I'm going over some common terms that you may know, but I want to be able to give a background and a framework for our more technical discussions a little later on. The second set of slides will be going through the safety analysis, how it ties in to fall campaigns. We'll take a quick break, then we'll go through some of the formal techniques that we use in our consulting engagements to help fall campaigns. And then the last one will be a little bit of a discussion about the requirements tracing and some of the tricks that we use for that. So a little bit about the standard and just sort of give a big broad picture and a level set. So first off, why are we talking about ISO 262 in DVCon? Because it is a huge market now. There's a large number of new entries into this market. There's a lot of silicon dollar signs being spent and growing rapidly. A lot more people trying to come in and provide solutions, silicon solution, IP solutions for the marketplace. And bottom line is why? Why this big, huge influx of interest into the automotive market? Autonomous driving, self-driving cars. Big, huge market change. It's driving a lot more silicon, a lot more complexity, and a lot more value in the car. Matter of fact, the car is becoming one of the most complex systems that we have, outstripping things like jumbo jets and jet fighters in terms of the overall complexity of the system that the car presents. Now, in the context of ISO 262, that's driving the functional safety aspect. The more complex the car, the more opportunity for things to go wrong, the more that we have to rely on the standard and what it brings to the table to address that series of risks. Now, it's true that cars have been increasingly getting safer and safer over the years. But to get to self-driving cars, I think we can all agree that the ability to reduce the risk to create even higher levels of safety is an absolute requirement. Now, one of the things that I'm going to make a leap of faith there and assume that most everyone in this room, everyone that attends DVCon, is going to be at the IP and the IC level. That OEMs and Tier 1s are not as well captured here at DVCon. We tend to be at the IP level at this type of conference. So one of the things that is thrown around a lot when you hear functional safety and you think about the standard is ASIL ratings. For everyone in the IC and the IP world, we tend to want to say, what is the ASIL rating that we have to meet, or what's the highest ASIL rating I can get to? And the ASIL ratings are driven from the OEM down. OEMs are the car makers. They are the BMWs, the Fords, the GMs of the world. They create ASIL ratings based on hazard analysis, based on the probability of serious injuries if a system fails, the frequency of the opportunity of that failure, and sort of the ability for a driver, which might be a funny statement when self-driving cars really are out there, for a driver to be able to manage that failure. So the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people is to say, well, I want to go to ASIL D, not knowing that there's a inherent cost to getting to that higher levels of ASIL. ASIL D is where you have life-threatening scenarios, where you have a reasonable exposure. It's not a rare event. And that there wouldn't be a lot of controllability in the car. ASIL D is the highest level of risk that an OEM can drive down to the system. That would be things like brakes, losing your steering. Losing your radio is not an ASIL rating event. Losing your wipers is probably not an ASIL event. So, in short, you're going to hear a lot about ASIL ratings.